This place was supposed to be packed with our Moose family. Oh, that's right. Things are a little different this year. Well, that won't stop the Moose from making it happen. Moose Charities has already started this year's convention with its 10-10-10 challenge and the March of Checks. Will you join us to make it happen this year?
Our members can make it happen.
Join us, make it happen.
You can make it happen. You can make it happen.
We can make this happen.
Together, we can make it happen.
Come on, y'all, make it happen.
This year, we are virtually together. No matter where we are, we stand together, Moose proud, ready and willing to meet any challenge because our kids and our seniors need our support.
We can make it happen. We can make it happen.
Make it happen.
Make it happen.
Make your donation today. Help make it happen.
Here we are, where it all began, with all of your hard work and dedication, and all of our Moose family over the years. We continue to make it happen. This is what it's all about.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for making this happen.
Moose Haven is just the greatest place on earth for us all to be. I can't believe the way they take care of us, feed us, house us, and all the amenities. Together, we can do this.
Thank you for making it happen.
Well, thank you, Moose membership.
Make your donation today. Help make it happen.
Good evening, Moose Nation, and welcome to the first ever virtual International Moose Convention. We are live just outside Mooseheart and streaming in ultra-high 8K definition. To be able to view tonight's broadcast, you should now put on your 3D viewing glasses that would have come with your registration badge that was mailed to you earlier this month. This way you'll feel like you're sitting in the front row of the Milwaukee Theater. Wait, what? Really? Oh, I see. So I was just told that we aren't streaming in ultra-high definition and 3D glasses were scrapped 2 months ago, and since it's a virtual convention, no one needs a stinking registration badge. And that since you're viewing this on a screen right in front of you, well, you're already in the front row. We are so glad that you're here tonight, and we are all ready to get the program underway. The invocation this evening will be delivered by our very own Supreme Prelate, Paul W. Curtis.
Everyone, please rise. Let us fold our arms and bow our heads. Heavenly Father, we come to you in prayer and ask that you bless this opening session of the 132nd International Convention of the Loyal Order of Moose and the 108th Annual Conference of the Women of the Moose. We ask a special blessing on our fraternal leaders as they face the many challenges that confront us. Please give us strength to face these challenges that lie before us and grant us patience and perseverance, good cheer and happiness as we learn and visit with our friends. Most of all, dear God, empower each of us as an ambassador to go forth to our lodges, chapters, Moose Legions, associations, and councils of higher degrees to spread the good things learned during this convention, so we may continue to do your will. Bless the aged at Moose Haven, the young at Mooseheart, and help us remain committed to their care. Give us wisdom, perseverance, and dedication to continue our pursuit of one moose for the betterment of this great fraternity that we love so well. We ask this in thy name, amen. Everyone, please remain standing.
Thank you, Supreme Prelate Curtis. Brothers and co-workers, please join in the singing of our British National Anthem, Canadian National Anthem, and the Star-Spangled Banner this evening, as we are led by Rusty Shields of Bloomington, Indiana Lodge, 1081.
God save our gracious Queen, long live our noble Queen. God save the Queen, send her victorious, happy and glorious, long reign over us. God save the Queen. Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all thy sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious we stand on God for thee. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
I tell you what, if that does not get your blood pumping, I don't know what will. You may be seated. Thank you, Brother Rusty Shields, for the absolute fantastic start to this convention. Now let's take a moment to honor our veterans and active military personnel this evening. I can't see you from my vantage point, but if you're watching at the lodge with other members around you, would you please stand or wave your hand so that others may share their appreciation with you? Thank you, brothers and sisters, for your faithful service to our country and to all who have the need for protection of freedom around the world. Brothers, that we may ascertain whether or not a quorum is present, we call upon Credentials Committee Chairman Michael C. Pazatka from Lombard, Illinois Lodge 2350.
Good evening, brothers. Supreme Governor Hammond, Director General Hart, representatives, alternates, past governors, and members watching live. I'm privileged to announce there is a quorum present. At this present time, we have 3,280 representatives and past governors registered for this International Moose Convention. Director General Hart, this concludes the Credentials Committee report.
Tell you what, spoken like a Moose Legion secretary, just trying to bring that Moose Legion right in. Thank you, Brother Pazatka. I now call upon our junior past Supreme Governor, Harry Johnston, to administer the obligation to our Supreme Governor, Rodney Hammond, as the presiding officer of this Supreme Lodge meeting.
Hello there, Rodney. You will place your left hand over your heart, raise your right hand, and repeat after me using your name where I use mine. I, Harry L. Johnston,
I, Rodney Hammond,
do solemnly promise
that
I will preside over this convention in the manner provided by the Orders General Laws. And I will do everything in my power
to
advance the purpose of the order.
to advance the purpose of the order.
So help me God.
So help me God.
You may lower your hand.
Thank you.
I now declare the 132nd meeting of the Supreme Lodge, Loyal Order of Moose, legally opened and ready for the transaction of business. Brother Supreme Governor Hammond, I now present you with your gavel.
Thank you, Brother Johnston. The order of business now calls for the report of the Rules and Order Committee. Therefore, I call upon our Corporate Secretary and General Governor, T. Michael Luer.
Thank you, Supreme Governor Hammond, Director Hart, Supreme Lodge officers, and representatives to this virtual International Moose Convention and 132nd meeting of the Supreme Lodge. The traditional roll call will be printed in the proceedings of this convention. In the interest of time, we will not call names. And now, speaking of getting your blood pumping, it is time for the Rules and Order Report. As commonly understood, this convention is an assembly of representatives who are determined by and convened pursuant to the general laws of the order, as the delegates for the members of the order. This convention must operate on a closely controlled schedule and transact a significant amount of business promptly in leased facilities, available only for a prearranged length of time. Any additional time for meetings would entail considerable expense to both the fraternity and the representatives personally. Maximum effort toward a well-organized convention is therefore essential. As such, the Rules and Order Committee has drafted rules of order and procedure for this 132nd meeting of the Supreme Lodge and International Moose Convention. Brother Supreme Governor Hammond, with your permission, I would simply like to announce that the report of the Rules and Order Committee has been posted on Moose International website and available there to each and every representative at this Supreme Lodge evening session, Thursday, June 25th, 2020. The Rules and Order Committee submits such report as being the appropriate rules of order and procedure for conducting this convention. Brother Supreme Governor Hammond, that completes the report of the Rules and Order Committee, and I move for its adoption. Respectfully submitted, T. Michael Luer, Chairman, Mooseheart, Illinois, Lodge 2655.
Darn it, I was hoping we could hear those read through and through. Brothers, you've heard the motion to accept the report of the Rules and Order Committee. I have a second from Brother Dwayne Beck, past governor, Sterling, Illinois, Lodge 726. I ask that all registered delegates to cast their votes electronically by visiting www.mooseintl.org. Go to the home page and scroll down to Programs/Events and click on the Virtual Convention graphic, and you'll find the Delegate Voting tab. You will need to enter your last name and your member ID number prior to casting your vote. If you are viewing the live presentation on a desktop, computer, laptop, tablet, or smart TV, you can follow the same instruction on your smartphones so that you do not have to leave the presentation to vote. For those of you who are a little bit less technically inclined, you may have a little bit of trouble, but ask your neighbor to help you. At this time, I call upon Director General Scott Hart to deliver his report to our convention.
Thank you, Supreme Governor Hammond. Has this been one of the strangest years of your life? Wait, don't answer that, because I know a few of you have some stories that might even top a global pandemic. On Friday, March 20th in Illinois, the conversation literally changed from, hey, what are you doing this weekend in the morning, to, oh, I guess absolutely nothing by the end of the workday. Yes, we were quickly ushered into a stay-at-home order or a lockdown. Moose International closed. Mooseheart stopped all visitors from entering campus, and Moose Haven wasn't far behind in sheltering in place. In the snap of your fingers, life as we knew it took a sharp left turn, and we were immersed in COVID-19 talk 24/7. We scrambled to prepare for office employees at Moose International to work from home. Even with plenty of work to do, it only took a few weeks before you felt like Bill Murray starring in the 1993 comedy Groundhog Day. I really started to struggle as well and had to work at coming to grips with this different reality. It made me start digging into past convention skits for answers. Take a look.
Welcome, we're back. Hi, if you don't remember me, I am Franz.
And I am Franz Jr.
And Franz Jr. and I are here to pump the moose up. So you may remember me from Pumping Up with Hans and Franz, right? So we're here during the pandemic, and we're really trying to get our muscles super built up to be a super pumptitude. And I'm looking here to Franz Jr. to take over the reign of Master of Pumptitude. Franz Jr., give us a little flex and show us your muscles. Oh yeah, do it again, get down in there. Yeah, that's very good, that's very good. So we've been doing this for quite some time, and the reason we're doing it is to pump the moose up. So, you know, before we don't need old what's-his-face Hans anymore, do we?
Yeah. Are you thinking of what I'm thinking?
Yeah, I'm thinking what you're thinking. Live from Mooseheart, it's the virtual Moose Convention.
Absolutely amazing that our 11-year-old son Joshua fit into the Hans costume unaltered. I think this could be the year that he passes Mr. Erweiler by. Shortly after the filming of that video, Christy burnt the two costumes. Farewell, Hans and Franz. One of the things I notice now is that it's June is how a number of new pandemic-related words and phrases have now caused my skin to crawl when I hear them. Let's start with the phrase, new normal. I don't know about you, but I haven't had a normal year since before Christy and I had 6 children and 13 chickens. For 132 years, the Moose fraternity has pushed the boundary on normal. Tell me of another organization that has over 1,300 lodges spread across the United States, Canada, and Great Britain. Built 2 cities, one in Illinois and one in Florida. Cares for our senior members at one location and at-risk children at the other, and donates tens of millions of dollars each year to charitable efforts in the community. There is no one ahead of us blazing a trail, and if anyone is following in our footsteps, they are so far behind that I can't look over my shoulders and see them. Lodge leadership around our fraternity took advantage of the lockdown period to complete some much-needed cleaning and building renovation. Kitchens now look brand new. Stainless steel shines, and the floors are so clean you could almost eat off of them. Almost. Walls were painted, ceiling tile replaced, new flooring installed, and lighting was upgraded. Thank you to all the volunteers who stepped up and worked in small groups to complete these projects. The lodge and chapter members have or will certainly notice the new normal that you have created. Lodges made the most of curbside pickup and outdoor dining. Taco Tuesdays, Chicken Wednesdays, and Fish Fry Fridays became a chance for members to get out of the house and drive over to the lodge and see a friendly face or two. Great job by every lodge that was able to make it work and adjust on the fly. On Wednesday, March 4th, the Moose Haven Executive Director Search Committee, made up of past Supreme Governor and Moose Haven Board Chairman Danny Albert, Moose Haven Board Member Bobby Baker, Chief Financial Officer Joe Meck, General Counsel Mike Luer, Chief Human Resources Director Barb Irving, and myself made our biggest pre-pandemic decision impacting the City of Contentment. We selected Helen Taylor as the 13th Executive Director of Moose Haven. All the residents who were able, as well as the employees, met in a standing room only New York chapel to hear the announcement. The joyous roar that erupted from the pews when Helen's name was spoken was like the happy squeals from Baby Village on Christmas morning when opening presents. With 25 years of service to our Moose Haven residents as a foundation for her role as executive director, Helen and the residents are embracing the new normal that started June 1st. To even need an executive director search committee, that meant that John Capes had shared his plans to retire on May 31st. For 13 years, John met challenge after challenge head on, and day by day, building by building, activity by activity, and resident relationship by resident relationship, changed Moose Haven. He shaped Moose Haven into the magnificent continuing retirement community that it is today. Every change made with the best interest of the resident of today and the resident of tomorrow firmly in mind. Things won't be the same at Moose Haven. There will be a time of adjustment to the new normal. But thank you, John and Tina, for all that you have given to Moose Haven and the Moose, and blessings to both of you in retirement. At Mooseheart, March 13, 2020 stands out in my mind. Across the state of Illinois and likely many other states, the senior class left school and headed towards another weekend. Only it wasn't just another weekend. I liken it to riding a roller coaster. You click your way to the top and have that moment of complete peace and solitude before you plunge straight down at breakneck speed. And if you are like me, you're screaming like a newborn baby the whole way. Only for the Mooseheart seniors who thought they had a few clicks left before they reached the top, the time to enjoy the view together was now over. On that Friday, March 13th, those conversations at the locker, that walk down the hallway, that push out the door was it. The Illinois State Board of Education called a timeout that we all believed was going to be maybe 2, 3, at the most 4 weeks. It wasn't to be, and classroom attendance at school was officially over in the state of Illinois. The new normal graduation for our senior class will be on August 1st in the Women of the Moose Gymnasium in front of family and invited guests, seated 6 feet apart. Not quite the thrill of graduating in the field house surrounded by 2,500 friends and family. A final point about our new normal situation that we find ourselves in today. Later this summer, we will begin to migrate to an online version of LCL, as well as an online cloud-based version of QuickBooks. Everything will be real-time data, and administrators will no longer have to transmit membership applications and monthly reports. I think I just heard a small cheer go out because lodges will no longer have to worry about reloading QuickBooks on the lodge computer time after time. On a sad note, we just recently lost an incredible brother, friend, and true fraternalist in Don P. Cotnam. Don was a member of Junction City, Oregon Lodge 2238, a past president of the Oregon Moose Association, and past Supreme Governor of the Loyal Order of Moose, having served from December of 2000 to June of 2002. Would you please join me in a moment of silence as we honor and remember our brother, Don Cotnam. May he rest in peace. Thank you. One of the advantages of a virtual convention is that you are in your own home, or in some cases your lodge, and you can enjoy a snack and a beverage while watching. My mom used to tell me that I could burn water, and so I married a wonderful cook in Christy. But during the lockdown, I figured I would try my hand in the kitchen. I mean, how hard could it be?
Hey, Scott, what are you doing?
Hey, during the pandemic, you know what? I see you guys in the kitchen all the time. I got my cookie Bible. I'm gonna learn how to bake. I got my fresh eggs from outside, chocolate chips, butter, flour. I'm gonna bake everybody some nice cookies.
Well, good luck to you.
Yeah,
Can't wait to taste them.
I can do it, don't worry. This is a lot harder than I thought it was gonna be. You know what? Nobody will know. man, I forgot about the cookies. Oh man.
Hey Dad, how are these cookies?
Hey, I tell you what, man, the cookies turned out excellent. I think I'm a really good baker. Go ahead and try one.
These are really good. You should bake more often, Dad.
Thank you. No wonder I never get asked to donate cookies to any of your fundraising bake sales. You'd be paying people to take them. Well, another term that I am sick of hearing is social distancing. In visiting the Mooseheart School, I always enjoyed watching the younger Mooseheart students play with magnets. They would try to push the two ends together with lank poles, and no matter how hard they tried, they could never get them to touch. Social distancing and the moose are truly polar opposites. No matter how hard you try to keep them apart, they're going to touch. Seriously, when you join the moose, you become a hugger overnight. It's like your DNA has been reprogrammed to hug everything that moves. That isn't a bad thing, but listen, for a while we need to be the wavers, elbow bumpers, and the head nodders for the safety of our fellow moose family members. Social distancing took on a new meaning when traditional events and activities in the moose started to get canceled. It started with Florida Days at Moose Haven, then trickled over to the heart of the community Easter festivities at both Mooseheart and Moose Haven. The entire remaining slate of international sports tournaments for 2020 was next, followed by the International Youth Awareness Congress, the Milwaukee Convention, the 2020 Pilgrim Conferral, Indiana Day at Mooseheart, and potentially even more events later this fall and winter on both campuses. The good news is that while we've been social distancing, the generous spirit of the moose is still locked in a tight embrace with our children and our seniors. When Milwaukee was canceled, over 2,000 members had already registered for convention, paying for meal and event tickets. Now, we were in the position to contact those members and find out what they wanted to do with the funds that they had sent in for a convention that wasn't going to happen. A wonderful group of registered members donated all or a portion of their funds totaling $46,000 to Moose Charities and the Mooseheart Activity Center. How awesome is that? Thank you to each and every one of you who made the decision to give just a little bit more. You heard from Director Bob Neff this morning that the Moose Legion continued its incredible streak of 14 years in a row of a gain in endowment fund giving. Gifts towards the Mooseheart Activity Center arrive in the mail every day, and we can't wait until 2021 to see the building go up and our children enjoying all that the MAC has to offer. The Moose Charity Sweepstakes has had an incredible surge in participation and giving. Now we chalk this up to the pent-up demand to gamble on something. With lodge gaming shuttered by the state and casinos as well, our members wanted to gamble on something. Online giving to Moose Charities has remained strong, and donations connected to social media shares has been amazing. You'll hear more about what is happening in Moose Charities tomorrow afternoon, so make sure you tune in. I have to admit that during this pandemic and resulting lockdown, I struggled with anxiety and fear as to what the next day was going to bring. Working from home turned out to be a difficult thing for me to adjust to, and I found myself dealing, unfortunately, with a very common addiction: watch. No, not about his sister. Lou.
Are you watching soap operas again?
No, I'm watching sports.
That is not sports. There's no sports during the pandemic. Oh, you watch it on your phone. You know what else I found?
What?
Underneath your side of the bed, underneath the mattress? Soap Opera Digest?
Those aren't my magazines.
Dad, I think it's time we have an intervention.
An intervention?
Yeah, found a place you can go get some help.
Get some help for my soap opera addiction?
Yep.
Thank you, Joshua.
Yep.
I'm gonna miss you.
Yes, you
Love you, guy.
too. Bye.
Bye, man.
Love you too.
Bye. The good news is that I'm now 6 weeks soap opera clean and ice cream sober. The doctors say I may never work from home again, but I believe I can beat the odds. I promised my family, though, that I wouldn't try again until the next pandemic. Let's all hope I never get that chance. I'm just as guilty as you in overusing this next phrase, uncharted territory. I feel like I'm on a pirate ship and asking the captain where we're headed. Ahoy, matey! We be headed into uncharted territory. Gee, Captain, tell me something I didn't know. For one, no one can tell what's going to happen 30 seconds from now, not to mention tomorrow or the next week or the next month. Secondly, and most importantly, I believe the Moose is a rare gem of an organization that always has its sails up and ready to catch the wind to move us ahead in our journey. When we canceled the in-person Milwaukee convention, we didn't just say, oh well, I guess we'll have to wait until Cincinnati. No, we have important business to conduct, and this isn't the first time that messages from the Grand Chancellor, Director of Membership, the Supreme Governor, or the Director General have been given on a screen rather than in person. The use of technology to hold a meeting was certainly uncharted territory for us as an organization, but Moose Legions, lodges, chapters, and district meetings have all been conducted using an online meeting platform now. It has paved the way for associations that are in states with strict guidelines that do not allow for groups larger than 50 or more to gather together, to still meet and conduct required business. In January, in a first for our organization, we sent correspondence to all our very valuable sponsors. We included a list of expired or dropped members that they had invited into their lodges and chapters. The offer was that for every one of those expired or former members who returned to active status by April 30th, the sponsor would receive $20. In the end, the largest check written was for $1,140. Not bad for working your own retention list. The good news is that we were able to reconnect with 5,542 members and that 4,726 sponsors received checks in the mail. The not so good news is that about March 20th, the program sales lost all its wind due to the pandemic. If your list is still handy, I encourage you to make a call or two and bring those former members back into our fraternity. There is no better time to be a Moose than now, as we sail into uncharted territory together. By together, I mean as one Moose. What may have been unthinkable in 1888 at the founding of the Loyal Order of Moose, inconceivable in 1906 when James J. Davis envisioned a stronger, more influential Moose fraternity, and unimaginable in 1913 when Mooseheart, the Moose Legion, and the Women of the Moose all were realized, is now dishonoring to the name of the Moose, the family fraternity. Those outside our fraternity look at the Moose and rightly criticize us for being behind the times when it comes to gender equality. I think the majority of us know that for 100 years our structure of lodges and chapters worked fine. Men had their place and women had their space. We could agree to coexist for the benefit of our communities, our children, and our seniors, but only as long as everyone understood their standing and position in the organization. Brothers and sisters, we are living in the year 2020, and it is time for us to join together as one Moose. Equality and lodge standing, voice, and opportunity regardless of gender has to be the uncharted territory that we sail into when this convention closes tomorrow night. In my nearly 29 years with the Moose, I have witnessed time and time again the unmatched, life-changing power you have when you come together with a common vision. Is it going to be perfect? No. Is it going to be easy? Absolutely not. But is it the right thing to do? Yes, it is. Delegates of this convention have until tomorrow night at 5 p.m. Central Time to cast an affirmative vote to change the course of Moose history for the better. We will be the same Moose that our children look up to, our seniors rely on, and our communities trust in, with one voice, one hand, and one heart. Now, during this pandemic, I can't tell you how many times Christy said, "Would you get out of the kitchen and go outside and do something?" So I did.
Oh, hi there. Hey, Director General here. I'm out here in my garden, what could be a garden. You know, I'm thinking about during this lockdown, learning how to be a master gardener, getting my hands dirty. See what I can do. Hey, welcome back. I've had a great month of hard work during this pandemic. I picked up this little book, 1001 Gardening Secrets. I really just went to the 1001 secret. And I tell you what, I've got some great onions here, some zucchini. I've got beans, I've got tomatoes and strawberries. I have knocked it out of the park with a green thumb during this pandemic.
I will say, if you drive by our house on a Saturday afternoon, that's exactly what I look like standing out in the yard. You have to love a good neighbor when you can shoot video in their garden and reap the benefit of them overproducing and dropping fruit and veggies off at your front door. Cheaper and healthier than DoorDash or Grubhub for sure. Okay, I'm down to my last overused pandemic phrase, flatten the curve. You can't watch Dr. Fauci without hearing this term over and over again. Every governor has a graph on their state website that shows whether the COVID-19 curve is flattening or rounding. Every news outlet has led with flattening the curve headlines over and over again. We are all working to flatten the curve, some of us in complete isolation. My dear brother and Mooseheart graduate, Dick Wookty, and his beautiful wife, Karen, haven't left their home in Milwaukee in 18 weeks and counting. Dick, a quick shout out to you and Karen. We love you, brother, and are thinking and praying for you. Unless it's to a doctor's office or up to Camp Ross, our children on the Mooseheart campus haven't left the grounds since March 13th. Moose Haven residents have been on campus locked down just as long and haven't dined together, worshiped together, danced together, or took a bus trip to a local lodge together. Yet they remain positive and content with knowing that they are receiving the best and safest care possible. When you look at our membership numbers from 2019-2020, you see pretty quickly that by the end of February, the Loyal Order of Moose and the Women of the Moose were both on track to show a gain in membership. The Loyal Order of Moose membership stood at 532,245, just 5,343 members shy of being +1 on April 30th. The Women of the Moose membership stood at 369,312, only 699 away from being +1 on April 30th. March was a mixed month, with a great start, but coronafied by the end. Did you catch that? Coronafied? That's a new term I made up when something gets mucked up because of COVID-19. Feel free to use it. The Loyal Order of Moose membership numbers were slipping, but not by much, just 5,815 away from being +1. The Women of the Moose lost more ground, though, dropping to 1,252 co-workers away from being +1. Then came April, and not only was our membership curve flattened, it was pounded into another dimension. Of the nearly 83,000 current members needing to pay their dues by April 30th, so they had an April 30th expiration date, to remain active, only 43% paid their dues. With lodges closed and no chapter activities, new member production for men and women combined went from 4,192 during the last week of February to only 521 during a week in mid-April. The Loyal Order of Moose ended April 30th down 24,056 members, and the Women of the Moose was down 11,515. The positive side of membership is that dues renewals in June were for over 92,000 men and women, and as of earlier this week, over 58% were paid. Production in June is on pace for 5,800 new members, a fantastic jump from May, which captured just 1,725 new members. As an organization, we are flattening the curve in membership and are ready for a growth curve for the rest of the year. I trust that each of us will do our part to make that happen. Finally, while on lockdown, I took advantage of an opportunity for me to pursue a lifelong dream of mine. Take a look.
Hey Dad, what are you doing?
Hey Joshua, I'm looking at this magazine on how to be a tattoo artist.
You don't know anything about tattoos?
I know I don't know anything about tattoos, but you know what? It's the pandemic. I think I can learn how to be a tattoo artist. It's always been a dream of mine.
Then prove it. Let's go.
Prove it? All right, I'll prove it. Let's go.
Go ahead. I still can't believe Mom let us do this.
I know this is totally crazy. She's gonna let me give you a tattoo. I mean, you're only 11. Let me get my mask on though first here.
Wait, yeah,
You ready? What?
Wait, before we start, can I have a drink?
You want a drink?
Yeah.
I'll see if I got something for you. Happen to have this bottle of root beer here. Take a drink. It'll cut down on the pain. Is that better? All right, roll up the sleeve. Here we go.
That's the best you can do, Dad? I think I can do better than that.
Oh yeah, you think you can do better than that? Let's see if you can put a moose head on my arm.
Dad, where'd you get that shirt from?
This One Moose campaign shirt? Why, I happen to get this at catalog sales at Moose International for a very affordable price, I might add. I think it looks pretty good, and I think, you know what? Everybody watching this video should buy one. But we're not here to talk about the shirt. We're here for you to prove that you can do a better tattoo than I can.
Definitely.
Are you ready?
Yep.
I'm ready for this. Now, you're gonna do a what?
I'm doing a moose head.
A moose head. All right.
Yeah,
Ow!
stop. Moose.
I know, but you're gonna hurt me.
No,
Yeah, I guess it's okay. I mean, for an 11-year-old.
what do you mean? I took 5th grade art, Dad.
5th grade art, this is what they teach you in 5th grade art. This is the best you could do. Sean Bale, if you're ready for your next tattoo, I'm willing to give it a second shot. No? Okay. Maybe in a year or two when I have a little more experience. In closing, whoever thought that we would see a toilet paper shortage due to a virus, unless it was a stomach virus? My kids would tell me to stop right now, but I feel like I'm on a roll. Ba-dum-bum. Or that you would pick out what you're wearing when you leave the house based on the design and color of your face mask. How many women out there have done that? Men, don't raise your hand. We are experiencing our new normal as a Moose family, each day with more social distance between us than we care to ever encounter again, all the while looking to a future that is uncharted territory, on a journey with just a few more flattened curves to navigate. We will do it together as one Moose, with the best yet to come. God bless Mooseheart, God bless Moose Haven, and God bless our amazing Moose family. And now, as an opportunity to return a favor, I will now ask Supreme Governor Rodney Hammond to present the report of the Supreme Council. Rodney?
My brothers, it is my pleasure to report to you the actions of your Supreme Council during the previous year of the fraternity. This year was challenging, to say the least, but the fraternity accomplished many significant goals to serve our members and communities. First off, the general laws changed 1 year ago to facilitate smoke-free lodges. The Constitution of the Moose International, Inc. and the Supreme Lodge documents the purpose and direction of our great fraternity. The general laws outlines the program for establishing a successful fraternal units. Amendments are made to the general laws for a more appropriate and/or efficient operation of the fraternal unit. This fraternity took a major step forward at the 2019 International Moose Convention in Las Vegas, Nevada, where the delegates voted affirmatively with a 77.6% favorable vote to amend the general laws to eliminate smoking within all lodge homes. The amendments replicated the current policy enforced by lodges in some states that have already had laws prohibiting smoking in public places such as bars and restaurants. At the same time, it allowed lodges to provide smoking areas outside the lodge home for those members that do smoke. The Supreme Council's reasoning was simple. Tobacco use is the leading cause of preventable disease, disability, and death in the United States. Those amendments went into effect January 1st, 2020, with almost unanimous compliance. During my travels, I observed a small amount of negative reaction to the program, but for the most part, the membership has gotten on board and appreciates the steps taken to make the lodge homes more safe and more comfortable for our moose families. One Moose is progressing forward. The Supreme Council of the Loyal Order of Moose and Grand Council of the Women of the Moose have worked hand in hand for the past 3 years to establish a strategic plan for women and men to have an equal voice, opportunity, and responsibility in every Moose Lodge throughout our fraternity. The idea of One Moose membership has been around for decades, and until now has only been about talking and not any doing. The time has come for our fraternity to act and establish a path forward whereby a husband and wife, brother and sister, and female and male friends have the same opportunity to serve on the Board of Officers and have a lawful voice and vote into the business, programs, and activities of the lodge home. In November of 2019, the Moose International Stand as One Committee held a town hall meeting with an open invitation to any member of the order, men or women. The weekend was full of an open dialogue, presentations, and panel sessions focusing on just one topic: One Moose membership. Attendees heard from Grand Chancellor Barbara McPherson, Director General Scott Hart, Grand Regent Mary Froning, General Governor Mike Luer, Director of Membership Mike Rios, yours truly, and others on the future of our Moose fraternity. The General Governor's office then went to work preparing proposed amendments to the general laws that would facilitate the One Moose concept. The proposed amendments were reviewed and approved by the Stand as One Committee, the Supreme Council, the Grand Council, and the Judiciary Committee. The proposed amendments were distributed to every lodge and readied for a delegate vote at this 2020 Virtual International Moose Convention. The Stand as One Committee and the entire Moose International staff, especially those hard-working regional and territory managers out in the field, did their very best to inform the membership of the ramifications of the proposed amendments. Once again, in my travels, there was some skepticism, but by and large, most members felt the time was now for One Moose. Voting opened this morning, allowing all qualified and registered delegates to vote electronically on any internet accessible device, regardless of where you were located. The polls will be open until tomorrow at 5 p.m. Central Time, and the results will be announced tomorrow evening at the closing session. Unified Association membership was a complementary action to One Moose. When the Washington State Northern Idaho Moose Association unified in 2017, bringing chapters into the membership of the association, it precipitated a flood of other associations that felt it was time that men and women worked together as equal partners. Director General Scott Hart commented at that time, "We thought this would be a good idea when WSNIMA did it, but I don't think anybody had an idea it would take off with the speed that it did." He continued, "We saw their enthusiasm, and then we heard from other associations saying, 'How can we do this?' It's been like a firestorm spreading across the fraternity." By the end of this fraternal year, a total of 35 Moose associations had voted to unify their associations with Women of the Moose chapters as their partners in the operation of the association, and revise their bylaws to accomplish this. This gives our Women of the Moose co-workers new opportunities to serve as district chairpersons and officers, in addition to association chairpersons and officers. Chapter members now have a voice and have the opportunity to vote in all association decisions, including how money is raised and spent. While not directly linked to the One Moose initiative, the enthusiasm toward unified association membership has carried through the stages of developing and adopting the One Moose concept. The goal of the Supreme Council is to create a future of lodges and chapters full of activities and events that cater to our members and entice membership growth. Through the combined efforts of Moose men and women, we will ensure a bright future for our children at Moose Heart and our seniors at Moose Haven. In the 6th year of the Supreme Council Lodge Grant Program, the Supreme Council approved grants to 150 lodges across the fraternity, totaling $1,032,800. That was approved and distributed beginning September 5th, 2019. The most requested projects were for work outside the lodge, including roof repair, replacement, fire suppression, parking lot improvements, and HVAC projects. Originally, all projects that were approved last year were to be completed by June 30th of this year. However, due to pandemic enclosures, a corona problem, the committee extended the deadline to September 30th, 2020. To date, of over that $1 million dispersed and granted, $747,633 in funds has been dispersed to vendors participating in the repairs. In February 2020, the Supreme Council moved to extend the grant program an additional year with a target expenditure of another $1 million. Here again, the coronavirus struck, plans changed, and in April 2020, the Supreme Council moved to transfer this $1 million allocation to the Supreme Council Pandemic Lodge Relief Fund. The Supreme Council Pandemic Lodge Relief Fund went into effect on April 3rd, 2020, when the Supreme Council approved and funded that $1 million for grants to fraternal lodges facing significant financial challenges as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. In the first round of the program, 634 lodges applied for assistance through the program. The committee made a final review of all applications and made a recommendation for 294 lodges to receive $876,900 in relief funding. We had some money left over, so in the second round of the program, 404 lodges applied for assistance through the program. The committee made a final review of all those applications and made a recommendation for an additional 54 lodges to receive $132,100 in relief funding. The Supreme Council approved all of the recommendations of the committee. Further, the council approved a supplemental list of 21 lodges to receive another $47,900 in total. 369 lodges received relief help totaling $1,047,900, and we've heard comment after comment thanking the Supreme Council and the Supreme Lodge for that assistance to lodges in need. The Supreme Council also designated funding in the amount of $250,000 to be utilized for a Moose Disaster Relief Fund called MDRF, beginning July 1st, 2019. This fund assists lodges impacted by natural disasters in the form of property damage and loss of business due to temporary closure. The Moose Disaster Relief Fund addresses emergency situations that have received an official disaster declaration by either the state or province or the president or prime minister. Funds can be used to restore property, pay urgent expenses, reimburse insurance deductibles, or fund other items as approved by the MDRF committee due to loss of business during closure. The very first application came in from Wooster, Ohio Moose Lodge, 1115, who requested $4,000 to pay for flood policy deductibles after severe flooding literally ripped off the west-facing wall of the lodge. That request was reviewed by the committee, approved, and funds were distributed within the week. Several other lodges have made application and received assistance through this program this year as well. Changing gears, I want to talk a little bit more about the Moose Rewards program. Through Moose Rewards, the Supreme Council seeks to create long-term member relationships while adding value to Moose membership. It is intended to improve member retention and increase participation in areas that are important to the fraternity. Further, it will help Moose International identify habits, trends, and priorities so that we can build more effective programs in the future. The Supreme Council has agreed to extend the Moose Rewards program until April 30th, 2022, to allow members additional opportunities to take advantage of this unique program. The Moose Rewards program was originally scheduled to end on April 30th, 2020, after a 5-year run. However, the program kept growing in activity as members took advantage of the opportunity to use points to pay dues, contribute to Moose charities, and obtain Moose products and services. The Supreme Council has made one change to the program. Beginning May 1st, 2020, gift cards and cash redemption will no longer be available due to low usage rates and the desire to highlight Moose-related redemption items to help strengthen the fraternity. The One Moose membership campaign, which we are now operating under, those campaigns are created and implemented by the membership department of Moose International. Annual membership campaigns typically run from May 1 to April 30th and have a unique theme each year. The Supreme Council approved this year's annual membership campaign, One Moose, which runs from May 1, 2020 to April 30th, 2021. During the last 2 years, the Moose fraternity heard more and more members expressing the opinion that women and men needed an equal vote, voice, and leadership opportunity within the lodge. Would Moose International be so bold as to create a new organization and bylaws that allowed for this equal representation? The answer is a resounding yes. The Supreme Council believes that we work best when we do it together. Therefore, our 2020-21 One Moose campaign theme proclaims that we are committed to work together as one, despite our differences and our gender. One Moose is more than just a campaign slogan, though. It's how we need to approach our mission in order to be successful and continue to create our future. I am completely certain that your 2020-2021 Supreme Governor, Bruce Berger, will carry that message throughout the fraternity during his travels in the coming year. And I have no doubt that he will enjoy the interacting with men and women Moose members as much as I did this past year. For those of you who are counting, I had the privilege of visiting 216 lodges in 34 states. Unfortunately, travel to South Carolina, Minnesota and the Dakotas, Indiana, Wyoming, western Nebraska and Colorado, Michigan, Kentucky, and Alaska had to be canceled due to the coronavirus outbreak. It was deeply disappointing to miss out on these Moose territories as well as so many other Moose gatherings including the convention that was set for Milwaukee. As Moose always seem to do, though, when an emergency arises, we rise to the challenge of adapting and making the best out of the situation. My very first visit was to Massachusetts and Connecticut, and something not very unusual, I embarrassed myself with a rookie mistake. Just as I was boarding the plane in Orlando, I realized that my suit jacket was hanging on the closet door back home. Deputy Supreme Governor Bill Cutter bailed me out and loaned me a jacket that was only just a little bit too big. That mistake on my part only happened one other time. During that trip to Massachusetts and Connecticut, I was able to visit with my lady friend, Joan Grenier, who now resides in, get this, Moose Up, Connecticut, with her family. There was another interesting set of acquaintances during my time in Maine and New Hampshire. In one lodge, a young man walked in, and I immediately recognized his voice as that of a Kissimmee Moose brother. He had moved back to Maine to be with family. At the next lodge, I was greeted by a member of a Florida chapter who had moved to be with her family after her pilgrim husband had passed away. Then at another lodge, I was pleased to see a member and his wife who used to vacation in Florida and visited Kissimmee Lodge many times when I was administrator. There were many instances like this of renewing old friends and the privilege of making new ones in all my travels. The visits to Maryland, Delaware were made more special because it corresponded with the trip of Moose Heart students who reside in the residence sponsored by the association. They were a fine group of young men, and everyone just loved them to death. The members there were so generous that Deputy Supreme Governor John Harkins had to ship several bundles of goodies to my home. For all these trips, Joanne Svensson in the membership department coordinated the scheduling, and she did me right by avoiding snow and cold weather mostly. Fortunately, I only had minor issues with transportation with just a couple of delays. I did nearly miss a flight after my driver bought a new GPS and didn't properly program it. So the GPS told us to avoid all the tolls, but we trekked through the back country roads on the way to the airport. A 40-minute trip turned out to be about an hour and a half. I made the bag check with 5 seconds remaining and walked directly onto the plane when I reached the gate. I could go on and on about the great times of my travels and all the wonderful members I met and all the great moose homes I visited. If you can imagine in your mind the cleanest, most comfortable moose home you've ever visited, the best moose food you've ever been served, the greatest feeling of friendship and fraternalism, I can tell you that I experienced all that while serving as your Supreme Governor. I know that Brother Berger and Donna will have their every need fulfilled this coming year by the Deputy Supreme Governors, the Association officers, and the Moose International field staff. Get ready for the ride, Bruce, and lead the fraternity into the future of one moose. And now we will have nominations for the Supreme Council. For the purpose of a motion, the chair recognizes past Governor Kevin Weingard.
Supreme Governor Hammond, Director General Hart, members of the Supreme Council, delegates, and members all. It is an honor to appear at this podium for the purpose of nominating an outstanding Moose member to the office of Supreme Councilman. This brother has been an active member of the Loyal Order of Moose for 33 years, but the Moose has been a part of his life for over 50. This man needs no introduction to the members of the Wisconsin Moose Association, who know him for his dedication and passion for our organization, his principled and caring leadership style, his decades of inspiring service to others, and as one of our association's past presidents. This brother has traveled much throughout our fraternity, sharing his moose life story during the past 30-plus years, which includes 9 years serving on the Moose Heart Board of Directors and the last 5 years serving as a Supreme Councilman. This brother is not only a very dedicated and passionate member of the Order, but is also a product of our wonderful child city at Moose Heart. It makes me unbelievably proud to belong to an organization that does so much for those in need. This humble and grateful man is a remarkable person and an outstanding example of success we can accomplish by working together. I have had the privilege of knowing this man for many years and am truly blessed to call him my friend and brother. It is a great honor to nominate a great fraternalist and wonderful friend hailing from the great state of Wisconsin, Mark J.K. Penscover, Muskego Lodge 1057, to the office of Supreme Councilman.
Thank you, Kevin. To continue, the chair recognizes past Governor Brian Miffin.
Director General Hart, Supreme Governor Hammond, and my brothers all. It is both an honor and privilege to come before the delegates of this convention to second the nomination of my friend and brother, Mark J.K. Penscover, to the office of the Supreme Councilman. I can attest to Brother Penscover's devotion and dedication to our fraternity at all levels. On the gates of Mooseheart are written the words, "Enter to learn, leave to serve." And this brother has done just that in every facet of life since leaving the Child City. He is someone that all Moose members can be proud of because of his success and our success. Thank you very much for this honor.
Thank you, Brian. To continue, the chair recognizes past Supreme Governor and Chairman of the Moose Haven Board of Directors, Danny Albert.
Supreme Governor Rodney Hammond, Director General Scott Hart, Supreme Councilman, and brothers all. It is with great privilege for me to have the opportunity to nominate an outstanding fraternalist and Moose brother for the position of Supreme Councilman. This dedicated Moose brother was elected to the Supreme Council in 2016 at the 128th meeting of the Supreme Lodge in St. Louis, Missouri. He has served on the Moose Haven Board of Directors from 2011 to 2016, the Mooseheart Board of Directors in 2010, and the Moose Charities Board of Directors from 2006 to 2010. He was appointed to the International Family Activities Committee in 2000 at the 112th International Convention. He served on the International Audit Committee from 2011 to 2016 and served the fraternity on the International Finance Committee from 2008 to 2009. Our brother joined the Loyal Order Moose in 1981 in Galion, Ohio Lodge 303 and is the past governor and past administrator of his lodge. He is currently the membership chairman of his lodge. He has served his Moose Legion as herder of Central Ohio Moose Legion 63 and is a life member of the Moose Legion. He also served his association as past Grand North Moose in 1987. This brother has served the Ohio State Moose Association in all elective chairs and its president in 1993 and 1994, and currently serves as secretary of the association since 1994. He is a past champion ritualist in the part of governor. 3 times he has placed third in international competition. Our brother has attended the 200 division of the Moose 25 Club, and he's a member of the League of Guardians. He was honored with receiving the Fellowship Degree of Honor in 1986, as well as the Pilgrim Degree in 1991 in the House of God at Mooseheart. Professionally, he has been president of Galion Medical Supply, Inc. since 1998 and attended The Ohio State University with a major in business. He is a member of the Elks, Eagles, and serves on the Design Review Board for the City of Galion, Ohio. He and his wife Linda reside in Galion, Ohio. They have 3 children with 4 granddaughters and 3 grandsons. It is with great pleasure as a past state president from Ohio and as a past Supreme Governor and chairman of the Moose Haven Board of Directors to nominate a true fraternalist and great friend, John R. Sipes, for the position of Supreme Councilman.
Thank you, Danny. To continue, the chair recognizes Moose Haven Board member Jim Monroe for a briefer comment.
Director General Hart, Supreme Governor Hammond, and my brothers all. It is a great honor to second the nomination of my lifelong friend and Moose brother, John R. Sipes, for the office of Supreme Councilman. Our great Moose fraternity will be stronger and more fraternal with John's presence on this prestigious board. Thank you.
And now the chair recognizes Pennsylvania Moose Association Secretary and past International Moose Legion President, Sean Bale.
Supreme Governor Hammond, Director General Hart, members of the Supreme Council, and my brothers all. I am privileged to stand here to offer a nomination for the office of Supreme Councilman. This gentleman joined the fraternity on January 16, 1996. He served his lodge as governor for 4 terms between 2005 and 2011. He elevated to the Moose Legion in January 2006, served in all chairs, and is a past Moose Legion president. He has served the Pennsylvania Moose Association as district president, as chairman of both the Moose Charities and Activities Committees, served in all elected chairs of the association, and is a past state president. He received the Fellowship Degree of Honor in 2009 and the Pilgrim Degree of Merit in 2015. He is a member of the 75 Division of the Moose 25 Club and also holds the Moose Legion Medal of Honor. This dedicated brother served our order as a member of the International Activities Committee from 2013 through 2015, as a member of the Mooseheart Board of Directors from 2015 through 2017, and then was elected to the Supreme Council in 2017, where he continues to serve today. He works as a civil engineer for the Pennsylvania Turnpike Commission. He and his wife Pam have 2 daughters, Kelsey and Kendra, and are expecting their first grandchild this summer. Brother Supreme Governor, it is an honor for me to represent the Pennsylvania Moose Association and submit the name of Brian J. Toski for the office of Supreme Councilman.
Thank you, Brother Sean. Now to continue, the chair recognizes Pennsylvania Moose Association past president, Timothy Zarpentine.
Supreme Governor Hammond, Director General Hart, members of the Supreme Council, and delegates to this international convention. What a privilege and honor it is for me to come before the delegates of this convention to second the nomination of my friend and brother to the office of Supreme Councilman. This brother has dedicated himself and has served at many levels of our fraternity since his enrollment in 1996. On behalf of the Pennsylvania Moose Association, it is my pleasure to second the nomination of Brian J. Toski from Muncie Valley, PA, Lodge 866 for the office of Supreme Councilman.
Thank you, Tim, and we will expect a fraternal apology from you for wearing your pilgrim tie with your Pennsylvania Association jacket. Now to continue, the chair recognizes Moose International Government Relations Chairman and past Dakota Moose Association President, Danny L. Hugelin.
This brother joined the Loyal Moose fraternity in 2003 at Williston, North Dakota, Moose Lodge 239, where he holds a lifetime membership. He also holds memberships in Bismarck, North Dakota, Moose Lodge 302, Mobridge, South Dakota, Moose Lodge 1685, and Sidney, Montana, Moose Lodge 858. He is past governor of the order and has served on numerous committees in the lodge. He elevated to the North Dakota Moose Legion 42 in 2004 and holds dual memberships in South Dakota Rushmore Legion 39. He received his Rookie of the Year for the Dakotas in 2006 and was honored as one of the 5 finalists for Shining Star Moose of the Year Award at an International Moose Convention in Nashville, Tennessee in 2010. He is a member of the 125 Division of the Moose 25 Club. He received his Fellowship Degree of Honor in 2009 and on June 2nd, 2018 was honored with the Pilgrim Degree of Merit, being one of the members of the 100th anniversary class. As a member of the Dakota Moose Association, he is currently serving as president. He was appointed on the Mooseheart Board, a position he has held since 2014. Prior to this post, he serves as Deputy Supreme Governor for the Dakotas from 2013-14. Professionally, he is employed by Ike Heating Furniture as General Manager for the Williston stores. Outside of the Moose, he is married to his wife Patty of 40 years. They have 2 grown children and 4 grandsons that he loves spending time with. He enjoys NASCAR racing and mentoring youth. It is with great pleasure and honor that I nominate a great friend and true Moose member through and through to the office of Supreme Councilman Kirk G. Shep. Thank you.
Good job, Danny. To continue, we will hear from International Heart of the Community Chairman, Daniel Froning.
Director General Scott Hart, Supreme Governor Rodney Hammond, members of the Supreme Council, delegates and members to this 132nd Annual Convention of the Loyal Order of Moose. It is with great pride that I stand before you today to have a part in this nomination. Kirk Shep and I become friends shortly after he became active in the Dakota Moose Association. It is my honor and privilege to come before the delegates of this convention to second the nomination of my Moose brother, Kirk G. Shep, to the office of Supreme Councilman. I can attest to Brother Shep's devotion and dedication to our fraternity at all levels. He does not let personal feelings enter into his decisions. His decisions are based on what is best for our fraternity and its members. Thank you, Supreme Governor Hammond.
Thank you, Dan, and thank you for serving this past year as the chauffeur and bagman for Grand Regent Mary Froning. Next, we will hear the nominations for Supreme Prelate. The chair recognizes Moose Legion Councilman and past State President Daniel E. Gooch.
Supreme Governor Hammond, Director General Hart, members of the Supreme Council, delegates, and members all. It is an honor to appear at the 132nd Annual Meeting of the Supreme Lodge, Loyal Order of Moose, for the purpose of nominating an outstanding Moose member and dear friend to the office of Supreme Prelate. This brother served our fraternity on the International Government Relations Committee in 2007, then as its chairman in 2008. In 2009, he was appointed to the Mooseheart Board of Directors and served until 2016. In 2016, he was elected to the Supreme Council. He joined the Loyal Order of Moose in 1984 at Lodi, New Jersey Lodge, 1971, and holds joint membership in Linden, New Jersey and Lodi, California. He is a past governor of the order and has served on numerous committees in the lodge. He joined the Moose Legion in 1996 and is a past president of North Jersey Moose Legion No. 2. He earned his Fellowship Degree of Honor in Las Vegas in 2001 and the Pilgrim Degree of Merit as class representative in 2007. He is a member of the 125 Division of the 25 Club. In his association, he is a past president of District 7 and the New Jersey Moose Association. He is our association scholarship chairman and serves as our MC for our association convention and mid-year conference. He served as Deputy Supreme Governor in 2003 and 4. A lifelong Lodi, New Jersey resident, he went through the Lodi school system and graduated from Lodi High School. He studied business administration at Muhlenberg College. He worked in the family business as vice president and general manager from 1981 through 1994. He then went back to his alma mater, Lodi High School, and worked as attendance counselor until 2016. He became Lodi city manager from 2016 through 2018 when he retired. A dedicated fraternalist, a man that places others first and will do anything he can do to help. It is with great pleasure and honor that I nominate Bruce Massapus, a true friend, to the office of Supreme Prelate.
Thank you, Dan. And now to continue, the chair recognizes past governor and past deputy supreme governor and New Jersey Moose Association past president, Dale Walters.
Director General Hart, Supreme Governor Hammond, and my brothers all. It is both an honor and a privilege to come before the delegates of this convention to second the nomination of my lifelong friend, neighbor, and brother, Bruce T. Massapus, to the office of Supreme Prelate. Bruce is the son of Lodi charter member William Massapus Sr. and Lodi charter co-worker Josephine Mastapus. His brother William Mastapus Jr. was a pilgrim. Bruce and I were classmates in Wilson Elementary School and Lodi High School. I can attest to Brother Bruce Mastapus' devotion and dedication to and hard work for Lodi and the fraternity. Thank you.
Thank you, Dale. Next, we will hear the nomination for Supreme Junior Governor. The floor recognizes Alaska-Hawaii Moose Association Liaison and Regional Manager Norm Dean.
Our nominee has served this fraternity for 34 years at the Lodge, Association, and international levels since joining the Loyal Order of Moose in 1985. He has served in all chairs of his lodge and served as governor during the 1989-1990 Moose fiscal year. He has spent a total of 14 years as a lodge officer. He has also chaired or participated in every committee his lodge had to offer. His lodge earned the Lodge Merit Award all 4 years as he was serving as prelate, junior governor, governor, and junior past governor. He performed the new member orientation program for 14 years. He was a member of the lodge ritual team for 13 years. He was and is very active at the association level also. He spent 9 years as the fundraising chairman for his association and was responsible for the renovation and refurbishing of his association's home on the Moose Heart campus. The association's obligation for the Life Care Center on the Moose Haven campus, raising the funds for a Supreme Governor's reception, and the purchase of 2 people movers on the Moose Heart campus. He served 4 years as the association government relations chairman, 3 years as the association treasurer, and has been the association's higher degrees chairman for 7 years. Among his achievements at the association level was that he was selected as Fellow of the Year in 1984, Pilgrim of the Year in 2008, and was inducted into his association's Hall of Fame in 2008. He is a past Deputy Supreme Governor and was conferred as a past state president in 2003. He elevated to the Moose Legion in 1986 and has served his lodge for 12 years as the Lodge Moose Legion Committee Chairman. He was conferred with the title of past president for his Moose Legion jurisdiction in 2009. He served as the Moose Legion area manager for many years in Washington, Idaho, Utah, Montana, Oregon, North Dakota, and South Dakota. He has also been very active at the international level as well. He served as Supreme Outer Guard, Supreme Inner Guard, Supreme Sergeant at Arms, 6 years on the International Government Relations Committee, and as a commissioner under General Governors Jim Chappell and David Chambers. He was a member of the International Moose Legion Council for 8 years and served as the International Moose Legion President for the 2011-2012 Moose fiscal year. He served as a Supreme Councilman from 2013 until being elected Supreme Prelate last year in Las Vegas. He is an active member sponsor in both his lodge and Moose Legion. He is a member of the 150 division of the Moose 25 Club with 163 applications to his credit. He is a holder of the Moose Legion Medal of Honor and has earned the Elite Ring in the Moose Legion with 105 applications to his credit. He received the Fellowship Degree of Honor in 1991 and the Pilgrim Degree of Merit in 1996. He and his wife Bonnie just celebrated their 40th wedding anniversary this year. He has 4 children and 7 grandchildren. It is my honor and privilege to nominate for the position of Supreme Junior Governor my friend and mentor, Paul Curtis of Camas Washougal Washington Lodge 1042.
Thank you, Norm. For the purpose of a second to the nomination, the chair now recognizes Washington State Northern Idaho Moose Association President and retired Territory Manager Bob Isom for the second for the nomination for Supreme Junior Governor.
As you heard in the nomination, Brother Paul Curtis's service to this fraternity has been stellar. He truly embodies what a true moose is. Knowing full well that he will help guide us in our quest for betterment, It is my great pleasure and honor to second the nomination of Brother Paul Curtis to become Supreme Junior Governor of the Loyal Order of Moose for the ensuing year.
Thank you, Bob. We will now hear the nomination for the top office of our order, that of Supreme Governor. I call to the podium a member of Sellersville, Pennsylvania Lodge 1539 and brother of Supreme Junior Governor Bruce J. Berger. Timothy Berger, it's a family affair.
Supreme Governor Hammond, Director General Hart, members of the Supreme Council, and my brothers all, it is my honor and privilege to come to this podium for the purpose of a nomination for the office of Supreme Governor. My little brother joined the fraternity on January 26, 1982. He served his lodge as its governor for 3 consecutive terms from 1987 to 1990. He advanced to the degree of service in January 1984 and served all chairs and became a Pass North Moose in 1990 and then served as secretary for 5 years. He is a past deputy Supreme Governor, served his Moose Association as district president and district secretary. He then moved on to serve all chairs in the association and was its president for the year 2004-2005. In recognition of his many accomplishments, he received the Fellowship Degree of Honor in 1988 and the Pilgrim Degree of Merit in 1998. He is a member of the 125 Division of the Moose 25 Club and also holds the Moose Legion Medal of Honor. My dedicated brother has served our order as a member of the International Community Service Committee from 2000 to 2004. He was then appointed to the International Moose Legion Council and served as our international president for the term 2010-2011. Most recently, he has served on the Supreme Council for 6 years prior to being elected our Supreme Prelate in 2018 and Supreme Junior Governor in 2019. He is currently employed by the Seeking Group. He and his wife Donna have 1 daughter, Amanda, and 2 granddaughters, Mary Elizabeth and Violet Marie. Brother Supreme Governor, it is an honor for all members of the Pennsylvania Moose Association, and especially myself, to submit the name of Bruce Jackson Berger for the office of Supreme Governor. I love you, brother.
Thank you, Tim. To continue, the chair recognizes Executive Director of Mooseheart Child City and School, Gary Erweiler, and he promises to be here this time.
Supreme Governor Hammond, Director General Hart, members of the Supreme Council, and delegates to this 132nd International Convention. What a privilege and honor it is for me to come before the delegates of this convention to second the nomination of my friend and dear brother to the office of Supreme Governor. This brother has dedicated himself and has served in all levels of the fraternity since his enrollment in 1982, and is a true believer in our good works, our programs, and our actions. On behalf of Sellersville Family Center 1539 and the Pennsylvania Moose Association, it is my pleasure to second the nomination of Bruce J. Berger from the Sellersville Lodge 1539 to the office of Supreme Governor. Congratulations, Bruce.
Thank you, Gary. For a motion to close the nominations for Supreme Councilman, Supreme Prelate, Supreme Junior Governor, and Supreme Governor, I call on Junior Past Moose Legion President Ronald Maley.
Supreme Governor Hammond, Director General Hart, Supreme Councilman, upon hearing the resumes of these 7 outstanding fraternalists, it is with great pleasure that I move to close the nominations for Supreme Councilman, Supreme Prelate, Supreme Junior Governor, and the highest office in the Loyal Order of Moose for my friend and colleague of the past 25 years, that of Supreme Governor.
Thank you, Ron. And now for the purpose to second the motion to close all nominations, I call to the podium Pennsylvania Moose Association, David Donahue.
Pennsylvania Moose Association President David Donahue, Elizabethtown Lodge 596, past governor. Supreme Governor Hammond, Director General Hart, members of the Supreme Council, my brothers all. It is indeed my honor to second the motion to close the nominations for Supreme Council, Supreme Prelate, Supreme Junior Governor, and Supreme Governor.
My brothers, you have heard the nominations for Supreme Councilman, Supreme Prelate, Supreme Junior Governor, and Supreme Governor. You have heard those nominations seconded, and you've heard a first and second motion to close all the nominations. It is moved by Ron Berquist, Jr., Administrator of Greenville, Tennessee Lodge, number 692, and seconded by Roger Sexton, Administrator of Captain Georgia Lodge, number 2129, to approve all nominations as read. I ask all registered delegates to cast their votes electronically by visiting www.mooseintl.org homepage and scroll down to the program events and then click on the virtual convention graphic and you'll find the delegate voting tab. As a reminder, you'll be required to enter your last name and member ID number prior to casting your vote. If you're viewing this on a live presentation on a desktop computer, laptop, tablet, or smart TV, you can follow the same instructions on your smartphones so that you do not have to leave the presentations to vote. Good deal. Thank you, brother. Some things just have to be. We will now call on General Governor Luer to announce some important information about tomorrow's virtual sessions.
What a fantastic evening for Brother Berger and for the fraternity as a whole. The virtual convention will resume tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. with the Moose Legion fundraising and awards presentation, followed by the publication awards at 10 a.m. The Moose Charities donor recognition is at 10:30 a.m. The afternoon session will begin at 1:30 p.m. with the Lifetime Achievement Award announcements, followed by the report of the Grand Regent and Grand Chancellor and the report of Moose Charities Board of Directors. The evening and final session of the convention will start at 6:30 p.m. with a full schedule of reports to be presented, including the Membership Department report, the announcement of the General Law Amendment voting results, and the joint installation of officers. Thank you all and have a good evening.
Brothers, I now declare this session recessed until tomorrow morning.